Good morning.
Good morning.
So you lied to the police, huh?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Only thing you lied to them about was the warning shot?
Yes.
Okay. You just got a little bit emotional. You feeling better?
I am.
That's the most emotion you've shown since all this happened, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You didn't cry like that when you were talking about killing Kouren Thomas when you were talking to the police, did you?
No, sir.
You didn't cry like that when Kouren Thomas was laying dying in your yard, did you?
No, sir.
But now you feel bad that you killed him.
Yes, sir.
You talked to the police for a long time, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And when you talked to the police, I mean, a couple hours probably, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
And they were asking you multiple times throughout this entire interview that you had with them about what happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And they asked you about that warning shot several times, didn't they?
Yes, sir, they did.
And when they asked you about the warning shot, you continually told them that you were firing a warning shot.
Yes, sir, I did.
How many times did you tell the police that you fired a warning shot?
Several times.
Well, was it more like over 10?
Yes, sir.
You even went through so far as to stand up and show them this warning shot, or not to stand up, but describe for them how you went about firing a warning shot, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told them that you were never aiming at anybody, right?
Yes, sir.
And you told them that you were aiming, in fact, at the ground, right?
I did.
The police aren't the only people you lied to, though, are they?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, you lied to a 911 operator, too, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
So that 911 operator that you were firing a warning shot, right?
I did.
You were upset that day, right?
Yes, sir.
Had been upset all day long, hadn't you?
Yes, sir.
Just sitting and stewing in it, right?
Feeling sorry for myself. Yes, sir.
Weren't feeling sorry for anybody else, were you?
No, sir.
You were mad at your wife, right?
Yes, sir, I was.
You were mad at your son, right?
Yes, sir.
You were mad at the neighbors having a party, right?
Yes, sir.
And you come today, and how long have you had to think about this?
18, 19 months.
It's a fairly long time to sit and come up with a story about to justify why you might not be guilty of murder, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And that's kind of what you've been doing, is thinking about this, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
When you were talking to the police and when you talked to 911 shortly thereafter all of this, you had less time to come up with a story, right?
Yes, sir.
And there were probably more holes in your story then than there are now, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you've been thinking about it for over a year. Had a chance to fill in those holes with things that might make you look better, right?
Yes, sir.
When you called 911, you heard the 911 call, right?
I did.
And that was State's Exhibit 5. You were in the courtroom.
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, if I may have you pull up the system so that I can play that 911 call for Mr. Copley, I want to ask you about some things that you say in there, okay?
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sunday, August 7, 2016, 0:50 and 35 seconds.
No, I'm gonna kill him.
No, I'm going to kill him.
Yes,
Now
sir.
you want this jury to believe that you're talking about your son at that point, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
You're going to go down because you're mad at Troy. You think these are his friends that are out there at that party.
I do.
But Troy came home at 11 o'clock that night, right?
Yes, sir.
You knew that this party was going on up the street, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You thought Troy went to the party up the street?
Yes, sir. Had something to do with the party and the gatherings of people at the party.
But Troy had been gone from your house for how long, according to you?
About 2 weeks.
So he's been gone for 2 weeks, and now he's shown back up, and he's the reason that this party's going on.
No, he'd be out there with the people at the party.
And you say that you think that these are Troy's friends when you're going out there, right?
Correct.
And you don't want to tell the police that Troy's out there because you're afraid of what might happen to Troy.
Yes, sir.
So you're withholding information from police officers who you're asking to come to a scene, right?
Yes, sir.
Now let's continue on with that 911 call.
One was the address of your emergency.
It's Timberlake Lane. We got a bunch of hoodlums out here racing. I am off the road and I'm going outside to secure my neighborhood.
You're locked and loaded and you're going outside to secure your neighborhood. This is after you've raised the window and talked to these people, right?
Yes, sir.
And you've reached under the bed and pulled out a pump action shotgun.
I did.
And you loaded that shotgun. How long did it take you to load that shotgun?
20 seconds, maybe.
Okay. At this point, you testified that nobody was really racing up and down the street, were they? They were kind of blocking the road, revving engines.
Correct.
You didn't see any cars racing up and down the street, did you?
No.
So that was a lie to the 911 operator, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
These people have supposedly flashed weapons at you at this point, right?
Yes, sir.
And you tell the 911 operator that you're locked and loaded and going outside to secure your neighborhood, right?
Yes, sir.
You didn't say, I'm going outside to ask them to leave, or I'm going to go outside and make sure that everyone's safe, did you?
Sir, I didn't.
You can continue as quickly as possible.
I'm sorry, you're going out to do what the neighborhood, sir?
I'm going to secure my neighborhood. I'm on neighborhood watch. I'm going to have the
You're on neighborhood watch. There's not a neighborhood watch, is there?
Not that I'm aware of, sir.
Okay, so that was another lie that you told the 911 operator.
Yes, sir.
I believe the next thing you're about to say is that you're going to have your neighbors with you, right?
Yes, sir.
Was that another lie to the 911 operator?
Yes, sir.
neighbors with me. There's hoodlums out here racing up and down the street.
Reiterate that first lie that there are hoodlums racing up and down the street, don't you?
Yes, sir.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. They're having vandalism. They have
Vandalism. They weren't out there vandalizing anything, were they?
Not that I've seen, no, sir.
You lied to the 911 operator again.
Yes, sir.
Are we seeing a pattern, Chad?
Yes, sir.
firearms, and we're going to secure our neighborhood. If I was you, I'd continue quickly.
Okay, sir, can you tell me what single leaf runs off of?
It's single leaf lane in Raleigh, North Carolina.
But, sir, can you give me numerics on single leaf or an intersection?
Negative, ma'am. It's on single leaf, Raleigh, North Carolina. See, no worse than that. Thank you.
Now, you say that you don't want to give them the address because you're afraid that your son might be out there, right?
Yes, sir.
But that's not what you told Detective Stroud when you were interviewing with him, was it?
I don't believe so, sir.
So I guess that's not the only thing that you lied to the detectives about, right?
Yes, sir.
You in fact tell Detective Stroud that, and by the time you've talked to Detective Stroud, you've realized that Troy, according to you, is in the garage and has nothing to do with these people outside, right?
Yes, sir.
And as you said, he had fear in his eyes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you see Detective Stroud, you have no reason to tell him that that Troy's not in the garage, right?
No, sir.
You have no reason to try to minimize what you initially thought was Troy's involvement in all of this with him, did you?
No, sir.
You have no reason to say that if you were really going outside to find Troy, that you were going downstairs and you were going to step out the side and find your son and bring him back into safety, right?
That's correct.
But that's not what you told him, is it?
No, it's not.
What you told him is that you knew Troy was in the garage and you went downstairs to get Troy so you could send him upstairs, right?
I don't think I said that. If I did, then a yes, sir.
What do you think you told him?
I think I told him I was going downstairs to get Troy, to make sure he was safe at the house.
But you didn't go outside to find him, did you?
No, I never went outside.
You went into the garage to find him.
Yes, sir.
And where was Troy?
Well, he was in the garage.
Right where you had left him.
Yes, sir.
And so you send Troy back upstairs, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is when you say that...
Hold on. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. You say that you sent Troy upstairs and you were in that garage and you look out the window and you see people, right?
Yes, sir.
You also said you saw some people in the backyard.
Yes, sir.
You heard everybody testifying, right?
I did.
And nobody said that anybody was in that backyard but you, right?
I believe so, yes, sir.
When you see these people in the front yard, these are the same people that you saw upstairs when you were upstairs?
Yes, sir. I believe they were.
You started talking to Detective Stroud about what these people were doing in the front yard, and you told the jury today that somebody made a motion to grab a gun and you thought they were going to shoot you in the front yard, and that was the kid in the red.
Yes, sir.
That's not what you told Detective Stroud, is it?
No, sir, it's not.
In fact, when you talk to Detective Stroud, you never tell him or any other police officer that at the time you shot that gun, anybody had a gun or was making any motion for a gun or anything like that. Right?
I believe that's correct, yes.
But now that you're in court, the story's different.
Yes, sir.
You also told the police that when you were in your bedroom, you lifted the window gently, the screen fell out, and you asked them to please be quiet. Your daughters are trying to sleep, right?
Yes, sir.
That's not what you're telling us today, though, is it?
No, sir.
And they asked you about that, didn't they?
They did.
They asked you to clarify that.
They did.
And you stuck to that story that you were just, nope, please be quiet, guys. We're trying to sleep up here.
I did.
You didn't tell the police anything about Troy not being gone, right?
No.
You didn't tell the police anything about thinking that Troy was involved in any of this, right?
No.
You didn't tell the police anything about Troy not being home that day and coming later in the evening, did you?
Not that I recall, no.
You didn't tell the police that you had been in an argument with your wife earlier in the day, did you?
No, sir, I didn't.
You didn't tell the police a lot of things that you've told us today. But we're supposed to believe you today about all of this stuff, right?
That would be nice, yes, sir.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
It would be.
But that's not what the story's been until you're asked to come into court, is it?
That's right.
And now that you've had over a year to think about it, you've come up with this story, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
Now, you testified a little bit about that shotgun and that you, when you bought it, it had a pistol grip and you've modified it, right?
Yes, sir.
And you took that shotgun and you took it turkey hunting and realized you weren't able to hit a turkey with that shotgun in the short barrel, right?
Yes, sir.
Didn't have any problems hitting a person, did you?
No, sir.
Testified that you were feeling sorry for yourself, right?
I was.
Feeling sorry for yourself today?
Not myself.
You were mad at those guys out in the yard, weren't you?
Yes, sir, I was mad.
That's why you told them to, quote, "You guys keep it the fuck down."
Yes, sir.
Before you raised that window and said anything to those kids in the front yard or in the street, they say anything to you?
No, sir.
They didn't even know you were there, did they?
No, sir.
The only way they knew that you were there, had any interaction with you, is when you raised the window cussing at them.
Yes, sir.
You had the shotgun already out when you did that, didn't you?
I believe so, sir.
Okay. You said that your son gets a wild, and I'm quoting you to the best of my, I was trying to write it down, but your son gets a wild hair up his ass and goes and does what he wants without caring about the effects to others, basically, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that kind of like you?
When I was his age, yeah.
You'd say yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've got some tattoos, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
How many tattoos you got?
Half a dozen.
One of them's a skull, isn't it?
No, sir.
You don't have a skull tattoo?
I do not. My son has a skull tattoo.
Do you have a tattoo that says hate?
No.
So if the jail records would indicate otherwise, those records would be wrong?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You got tattoos on your arms?
I do.
Are they cover-ups?
They are.
What did they cover up?
One on my left arm, he covered up what looked to be like a Batman type thing. It was like tribal art that didn't really work out. It had purple around it, so everybody was always asking me, "Is that Batman?" And I got that one covered up.
What's the other one?
The other one is, yeah, I have this one on here that was a cover up. It was just like some homemade tattoo when I was younger.
Of what?
It just said my name, initials. It's kind of crappy work, so I covered that one up.
Okay. You worked in loss prevention officers for a while?
Yes, sir, I did.
You worked a lot with cops?
Yes, sir.
They never trained you or told you that it was appropriate to go out and shoot out of a closed garage, did they?
No, sir, they didn't.
In fact, you testified that that garage had a big old lock on it and nobody could get in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Front door was locked to that house?
Yes, sir.
You have an alarm system?
No, sir.
Your testimony today is that nobody ever tried to get into your house, did they?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
They were just in your yard, according to you.
Front and back, yes, sir.
Your backyard's got a big old gate around it, doesn't it?
Has two.
Okay. You, when you went in that garage, were still mad at them for racing in the streets?
No, sir.
You weren't mad when you went in the garage?
No, sir.
What had happened how long did it take you to get from upstairs when you're loading the gun to the time you get down in the garage?
Not too long. Once I got in the garage, Troy was there.
So you were no longer mad because you saw Troy?
Not at the people outside. I was still mad at Troy. Wanted to figure out what was going on. I thought maybe he'd been out there and I heard come inside. Kind of play it off like, yeah, Dad, I wasn't out there.
Well, why would you be mad at Troy when you look in his eyes and see fear in his eyes?
I didn't see the fear till I asked him. I started asking questions. Do you know these people? You know, don't lie to me. It's outside. He says, Dad, I don't know them.
Now you say that this person in the red was wearing a Hawks hat.
That's what I believe, so. Yes, sir.
You're a sports fan?
Yes, sir.
You got a lot of sports stuff in the garage?
I do.
You know the difference between a Hawks hat and a NC State hat?
I do, sir. Yes.
Okay. And the person that you saw was wearing a Hawks hat, weren't they?
I believed it to be, yes, sir.
And you shot this person dead center. How close were they to you?
20 feet.
Told the
25.
police they were about 50 feet away from you, didn't you?
Maybe I did.
And this person that you shot, you say was over by the natural area in your front yard, right?
Correct.
And that's if you're facing the house, that would be to the left. If you're looking out the garage window, that would be to your right, correct? And you fire straight out the window, don't you?
I do.
Okay. And you said this was a 12-gauge shotgun.
Yes.
Had a slug in it, didn't it?
Yes.
Didn't have bird shot or any small bird ammo.
No, sir.
When you loaded the gun, you picked the bullets that had the most bang for your buck, didn't you?
Those are the shells I keep beside the bed
Why do you keep those shells beside the bed?
in case of an intruder.
And you want a shell beside your bed that has the most bang for your buck. You don't want to shoot them with bird shot, right?
No, sir, you don't.
You want to shoot them with a slug because it's going to do damage.
Or a buckshot.
But you chose a slug, didn't you?
I grabbed the first box of shells. They were slugs, yes, sir.
And when you shot this man in the front yard with a shotgun from fairly close range, all he does is spin around.
Yes, sir. He spins around, tosses his gun like he's heading back towards the street.
When he tosses his gun, does he drop the gun? Does he throw the gun? What's he do?
It flings out to his side.
What hand was he holding the gun in?
Right hand.
So you shoot him in the right arm with a 12-gauge shotgun slug. He's still able to hold on to a gun, fling it as he spins around, and then run towards the street.
I believe when I shot him, he got contact on his arm. I believe that's what made the flinging motion of the gun.
Well, that's not what you testified to, though, is it? What you testified to is he's coming at you. He reaches like he's going to pull the gun. You didn't say he got the gun out at that point.
No, sir.
Because he didn't get the gun out, did he?
I believe he did, sir.
Okay, so he pulls the gun out. You shoot him in the arm. And what you testified to earlier, before I started pointing out to you the flaws in this logic, are that he then tosses the gun and turns around and runs away, right?
I don't believe I said he ran away. I do know he turned around.
And started going towards the street.
Yes, sir.
But now that you're thinking about it and realizing that you shot him with a shotgun, now you think maybe it was the shotgun blast that made him toss the gun to the side.
Could be.
Okay. So your story's now changing from when you were initially questioned about what happened until now I'm asking you about it. It's different again, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, you told him they threw the gun. Now you're saying that he got shot and he dropped the gun. So that's a different thing, isn't it?
That is, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I
So
never said
not
he dropped.
only... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I never said he dropped the gun.
Well, did he throw the gun?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he gets shot in the arm with a shotgun and he's still able to throw a gun.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've never told the police anything about that, did you?
No, sir.
And your whole issue here when you're talking to the police is you don't want to get charged, do you?
No, sir, I don't.
Don't you think it would have been important information for a police officer to know, especially if you think you know the law well enough to say you had to fire a warning shot, that somebody has a gun and is pointing it at you?
Looking back, yes, sir. That would have been very helpful.
Exactly. Looking back, that would have been helpful.
Yes, sir.
You didn't think about it then, but you thought about it 18 months later, right?
Yes, sir.
You pushed that window screen out of that window too, didn't you?
I'm not sure if I pushed it or it fell. I know when I opened the window, I was yelling out of it.
You say you quote said, after thinking about all this, you feel like shit, man, right?
I do.
How do you think his family and friends feel?
A lot worse.
You been drinking beer that day too?
No, sir.
When you saw those kids out in the front yard, you weren't scared of them, were you?
Not at first, no, sir. I was not.
You escalated the situation, didn't you?
I believe maybe I did have something to do with that, yes, sir.
Well, when you pull a gun out in a situation, it escalates it, right?
It does.
And you testified you had the gun when you were yelling at him out the window, didn't you?
Around that time, yes, sir.
When you engage with people who are minding their own business out in the street area, you escalated the situation, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And you admit your wife was telling you not to do it.
I wish I would listen to her.
When you got escorted out of the house by the police, well, actually, you walk into the garage first, right?
Yes, sir.
You said to the police you had to turn the light on in the garage, right?
Yes, sir.
And you wanted to do that so that they could see you.
Correct.
You never tell any of the police at the scene any of this story either, do you?
The officers at the scene, they were looking through the garage. That's why I told them I wanted to make sure they seen me. So I'm going around to open the front door. When I opened the front door, I was greeted by six or seven officers. I was immediately taken from the home out to the wooded area. I was searched, handcuffed, and then placed in the back of a cruiser.
How long did you sit in that cruiser?
Seemed like for a long time.
Where was that cruiser parked?
The cruiser was parked over by the neighbor's house, in between Miss Cynthia's house and the neighbor directly across the street.
So like right in front of your house?
Off to the right.
Right in front of that curb where all these kids who are out in the yard?
Right to the left. Sorry.
Okay. Right in front of the curb where all these kids are sitting on the curb handcuffed with each other, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're in that car for a long time.
Yes, sir.
You're looking around, trying to figure out what's going on, right?
Yes, sir.
You're looking at those kids as they're sitting on the curb, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Chad, Mr. Latour was asking you some questions about escalation.
He was.
Did you had you seen guns flash from the street before you pulled out your shotgun from under the bed?
Yes, I had. That's correct.
By escalation, are you saying, was it the profanity that was said? Is that what you're talking while you're in your bedroom?
Yeah, it would be the profanity. I'm sure if you holler out the window at somebody and you just tell them what I told them, they'd probably be upset.
Okay. You never went outside.
No.
When you were interviewed at the police station, when they had you sign your... Anyways, what time did they start the interview? What time was that?
I believe around 2 o'clock.
The form said 4 a.m. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Did they have you... How long were you waiting before they really started interviewing you?
I was waiting quite a long time. I'd already been in the back of the police cruiser for, I would say, at least an hour or two. Then maybe an hour or so in the room, the interview room.
Okay. It was this detective right here. He was one of them, right? Detective Stroud who interviewed you?
Yes, he was.
Are you aware if your interview was on a video recorder?
I was not aware.
What about later? Have you been made aware of that?
I have, yes.
Have you heard any other 911 calls during this trial that were made that night that you think occurred?
Not that I remember. No.
Have you only heard one during this trial?
Yes.
Did you ever tell the police that Troy took a .30-30 rifle upstairs? Did you ever tell them that, as far as you know?
Yes, I did.
Think you did?
Yes.
Did you do anything to try to protect Troy about that rifle?
I took the rifle from him. I told him I don't want him being any part of this, and I put it under the bed.
What do you mean by that? This.
The shooting.
You're trying to keep him out of it?
Yes, I was.
What kind of clothes does Troy wear sometimes?
It varies. It could be a lot of loud clothes, It's crazy get up that really doesn't match a whole lot. Likes to write on his collar and stuff like that on his clothes.
Earlier you talked about some of Troy's friends jumped on you and got you good. Was that in your own yard on Single Leaf?
He was.
Have you seen Troy wear clothes that kind of look like some of the young men dressed outside in the street in front of your house?
Yes.
When Detective Stroud is, and later I think Quagliere are interrogating you after 4 a.m., they basically told you they didn't believe it was a warning shot, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
What was your state of mind on this topic?
Just kind of shut down. It's just like I said, man. I lied. I'm going to take responsibility for that. I just seem to keep digging a hole deeper and deeper, and there's no way out of it. It's just come out and tell the truth, and accept responsibility.
Is that what you're doing here, telling them what you did in your
Yes.
garage through the window that night?
Yes.
What did you see after the shot? Did anyone come into your yard?
Yes. There was a couple people that was in the yard. I did see a young lady and a crowd of people around.
You went upstairs too. You weren't always able to keep looking at the situation.
That's right.
Did you have any fear about what the scene might look like out in your yard by the time the police would get there?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll happen really quick. Like I said, it's quick. When I get back upstairs, there's a people starting to make their way down towards my house and the yard area.
At the police station, you were asking the detectives about your family, correct?
Yes, it was.
You didn't know if they were safe or not.
I did not at that point, no.
You didn't know. You asked the detective about if the man in your yard was actually alive or what had happened. You didn't know, did you?
I did not know.
Have you ever experienced anything that traumatic before that you can really think of?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Recross.
Your Honor. You actually never asked the detective about how the guy in your yard was, did you?
I don't believe I did, sir, no.
Okay, so when he asked you when your lawyer just asked you if you did, and you said yeah, and now you're saying that you didn't because you didn't, did you?
I was asking about my family. And
Right. And then he asked you, did you ask the detective about how the guy was in your yard because you didn't know? You said yes, but in fact, you never asked the detectives how that guy was, did you?
I don't believe so, sir, no.
Because you didn't care, did you?
I did care.
Are you telling us that the reason that you lied to the police is because you had a long time to wait to talk to them?
No, sir, I'm telling you the reason why I lied to the police because I was scared, being a coward.
You didn't want to get in trouble, did you?
No, sir, I did not.
And when you're scared and being a coward and thinking that you're going to get in trouble, you make up stories, don't you?
I did, sir.
You do, don't you?
Sir.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Redirect.
I just want to briefly, Chad, you talked with Detective Stroud about the man that you thought might have been shot.
I did.
You thought you had hit him.
I did. He asked me, why would I think that? And I said, you're the homicide detective, correct? And he said he was. I said, well, if he hadn't got hit, you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be here.
Is this what we were trying to talk about when we talked about this earlier?
Yes.
And this should be on an interview with the Detective Stroud, correct?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, sir.
Just that happened, but you never asked if the guy was okay or what, did you?
I don't believe so, sir.
Nothing else.
Anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You can come on down.
Thank you.